Good afternoon, everyone. I am super jazzed for this conversation because it's our good friends at Toppers Pizza. And every time, like the good is, like I want to be super serious, but for whatever reason, sometimes Scott, who's right underneath me, forces me to want to be jokey. So I'm gonna put the serious hat on. I promise you that. But thank you guys for Colleen and Scott for joining us. So I would love for you guys kick this off. Tell us what is life like right now? Scott, I'll start with you. What's the good, the bad, and the ugly? And then Colleen, we'll go over to you.
Sure. Good, bad, and ugly at Toppers?
Yeah, Toppers.
Yeah, so the good is that business is good. I'm telling you, 3 months ago, I would have loved to plan and execute a plan that would have gotten us to where we're at right now. 3 months later, it's we happen to be at a place to take advantage of the current opportunities, the stay-at-home environment. We have what customers want. The PPP was a really fun win for our entire system. We're excited about the opportunities that there are for the next 2, 3, 4 years, not just the next several weeks. So that's the good. The bad, I'm in an office that typically holds 40 people, and there's 5 of us here, and I'm kind of getting sick of my CFO, who's the only guy that is here every single day with me. No, that's the bad, I guess. Is just, life is changed, and I'd rather be going to baseball games and fighting the normal fight. I don't know what's ugly. Ugly doesn't fit for me. There's not ugly. We're good. So yeah, Toppers is great. The segment is awesome. I feel sorry for my restaurant brethren that aren't going to survive what's happening, but we happen to be the winners of that particular debacle for restaurants and retail. So,
yeah, I'm looking forward to getting into that. Colleen, obviously, frame this up because you get to sit on both sides of the fence as a franchisee and on the franchisor side. So what's going to be really exciting is to get into your story from just validating the fact that this was the right opportunity for you. But how are you navigating the storm?
Yeah, no, I think that Scott hit on a couple of really key things. Is our model is set up for delivery. We were really positioned in a way to succeed in this pandemic and to thrive. And to be, that consistent place in the community during the pandemic that people could rely on to bring them, food and a sense of normalcy. So it's been really great to see our teams rally and to see our communities rally around us. I would say that from the franchisor side, understanding what our franchisees are going through and what their teams are going through, being the franchisee has, I think, really given our overall corporate franchisor team insight to what our teams on the ground needed from us, direction they needed from us, and how we could really support them and keep them ahead of the curve of what might be coming down the pike, what customers might be looking for, what our team members were asking for, and what they felt they needed from PPE to what were the communities feeling about sanitation and safety, and what did we need to do to reestablish. Yes, we've always had really high standards for cleanliness and food safety and food quality, but how could we bring that to the forefront and make it even more clear to the customers and to the teams that we were taking their health and safety as a top priority during this as well. So I think sort of knowing how serious people were taking that on the ground really helped us as a HQ, bring that to life.
Colleen, I know the segments worked out well for Toppers,
Mm-hmm.
but if you could share 2 things. Early on, was there some doubt and concern as this onset happens? And also, you've referred, like, you guys, you're thriving and succeeding. As you look back, what are some of the steps as a brand you look back on that you guys are leaning on now and really helping with that success?
Yeah, I think that definitely in the beginning there was some concern. We're a late night pizza place. We do a lot of our sales between midnight and 3 in the morning. We're open until 3 in the morning most days of the week. So I think that when the orders came down that bars were going to be closed and restaurants were going to be closed, what was that going to do for a large portion of our business, and what was it going to do to consumer behavior and how people just approach their day-to-day dining lives? And so in the very beginning, we definitely took the approach to maybe scale back on our hours, but we recognized very quickly that late night segment, people were still ordering. So I think that was a big win. We saw, I would say our sales definitely shifted. We have, increase in lunch and dinner, and increase in our late night and bar sales, but they aren't gone completely. So that I think has been something that's really encouraging to see, that not only during this time, yes, we've maintained some of those late night and bar sales, but that people are looking to us for, that afternoon and dinner even more.
Scott, when you reflect back on the business and you think of it today, is there anything that you maybe did not value as much about Toppers, or thought that it wasn't working, say, a year or 2 years ago, that now is pleasantly surprised you, or that, like, thank God we did that it's actually paid dividends in a time like this?
Sure. I mean, technology is the first thing that comes to mind. We've invested millions of dollars into our own technology that runs our website and our point of sale system. And that gave us the ability during the first few weeks of the crisis to do some just fabulous innovation for our customers. So to talk to our customers and create functionality for the ordering process and delivery process that, along with our team members, was able to deliver what they wanted. So that's an investment that really paid off in the last several weeks. The people, I wouldn't say they didn't work in the last couple of years by any means, but in those early days of not knowing what was going to happen, we didn't know if we were going to be closed down everywhere that we were. So it was an existential crisis. I mean, I knew what the burn rate was at Toppers Pizza if we were closed. A burn rate at a pizza place, who knew? But we started meeting daily as a leadership team every single day. First thing in the morning, we were meeting and jumping in and taking care of business 7 days a week. And that team was so fun, and still is fun to work with. But being with a great team in a crisis, just, it makes you value the people that you work with. And, sitting on the segment, I mean, we've innovated in the last several years. We continue to innovate, but not throwing the baby away with the bathwater, being fabulous, making decisions to be great at what we do. I've been doing pizza. I've been in the pizza QSR segment for 30 some years, and pizza delivery has just constantly grown during that entire 30 years. Delivery has grown, and it continues. This is a trend of delivery and convenience that has been growing my entire career, and now in the last 10 weeks, it just shot up to the whole next level. So this is not a flash in the pan. This is what customers want. They want extreme convenience. They want anonymity. They just want to go online. They don't want to converse with a person. They just, hospitality is different these days, and we have been ready to deliver on that because of the investments that we've made we're gonna there's lessons that we've taken in these last few weeks that we're just gonna double down.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, it is interesting that like 10 weeks have accelerated an industry by 5 years, you know, and I think that applies to our whole economy and everything that's happening. What are you going to shift now your franchise development strategies and your focus on sales? I mean, it seems like there's new opportunity here. There's a new value proposition, especially in your space. How's your team approaching that?
Well, I suppose any disruption, anybody that's been around in business more than 10 minutes know that disruption equals opportunity. And we sit in a really cool place because the opportunity is more obvious. But I'll tell you what, even when the shit was hitting the fan, I was telling people, okay, I don't know what's going to happen here, but I guarantee you that there's some incredible opportunities. We just have to be ready and look. You know, from a development standpoint, everybody is just more bullish. I mean, that's the bottom line. Restaurants have been overgrown and the restaurant business extremely challenging to run because of the shortage of people, like many businesses. Well, I'll tell you what, having too many restaurants and not enough people, those are rearview mirror problems right now. There's going to be enough people for the foreseeable future with unemployment the way that it is, and I'm not wishing ill will on my fellow man, but bottom line, restaurants are going to be easier to run. And the second part is there's fewer restaurants. You know, if everybody could get back to business right now, there's fewer restaurants. And what restaurants people want to interact with are our kind of restaurants. So bottom line is when you have a concept like ours that is poised to succeed in an environment like this, you know, we're succeeding, and investment pours to investments that work. So our development plans would include opening our small footprint delivery and carry out restaurants with curbside delivery in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Nebraska, and North Carolina are the key markets that we really like. And yeah, we'll ramp up our investment into those markets over the next several months.
Scott, I'm sure you clearly follow the news on Uber's interest in a Grubhub, and it's fascinating to me because of the timing of it. But I'm also very, very fascinated with the consumer potentially taking more control of how they get food. The reality is, when you order from Topper's Pizza, the product you get at home is exactly the way it's supposed to be delivered because you are a delivery pizza brand. And I feel that many restaurants are overlooking the fact that the experience in the restaurant and the experience at home are vastly different for the consumer, yet the pricing remains the same. So I feel like third-party delivery is potentially set up to get whooped a little bit, whether that's regulations on fees, whether that's the consumer saying this product is not as hot or as fresh as I expected it to be, whether it's why would I pay restaurant dine-in prices when it's being delivered to my house. But I feel like the glory days of that might have to shift. That yes, third party is there in a time of crisis to deliver out virtually every restaurant. But I think the value of first party comes back around as really the centerpiece of that experience, especially as restaurants go through some challenges in the future. I would just love your point of view on the comments I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I don't disagree what you're saying. I believe that certainly the best value and the best quality and service that Topper's offers is offered by our own delivery service. Our segment, or the pizza segment, has been a leader in delivery and carry out forever. And even in the third-party delivery service, customers still perceive pizza as the #1 product to get delivered. And it's not just perception. The fact is that For example, we buy the boxes and packaging that we use is very detailed to be able to deliver a great product. The high protein flour that we buy creates a crust that travels well, holds up, holds its heat well. You can't just take any product that's great 3 minutes later on a table and throw it in any kind of packaging and it's awesome. Now, that being said, the customer is going to want what the customer is going to want. And I believe that third-party delivery services are going to exist and succeed at some level. How that pans out over time, it's hard to say. I predict that they will have success. And we're not going to fight it. We're not going to say customers should be doing blank. We're going to watch what customers are doing, predict what customers are going to do, and we're going to skate to where that puck is. And we believe that the right third-party aggregators will work with those folks and deliver to the people that insist on ordering on those platforms. We've got a product that can deliver well. And frankly, there's in most markets, some of those folks are fast delivery folks and, do fine. The best value is found on toppers.com. There's no doubt about it. But if customers want to buy our product on any number of channels, and the number of channels where customers are going to be able to interact technologically with Toppers Pizza and what they're going to want to do and where they're going to want to be able to buy, that's just going to grow and grow and grow. And wherever the customer wants to find us and buy Toppers Pizza, at this point, we intend to be there and to deliver that great product and service that customers expect, however they connect with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even know if this is a question, but as you're speaking, Scott, 1,000 things are running through my mind in terms of technology and everything shifting. And then I'm sitting here, and actually I'm not smart enough to answer this question, which is going to be, what's the next disruption that we're not thinking of? And also, really, what's the unexpected consequences of all of this that we may not experience for 6 months down the line? One thing that was popping out to me, and it's not in the unexpected category, but it'll be curious the day when, you're in your kitchen and you use your Alexa to order pizza, and what that's going to look like in terms of search and, voice activated search, and how does Toppers get to the top of voice activated, so it's just going to be interesting how all of this rolls out, because I think the acceleration that's getting us to where we are now is going to keep accelerating, and it'll be interesting where we land.
Yeah, in 2005, I had somebody say, you ought to, we'll build you an online ordering platform in 2005, which is yesterday, as no time ago. And I was like, I'll believe it when I see it. Why would the customer order food online? It takes longer. The service is terrible. At that point, the only people that were really doing it in our segment was Papa John's, and they got it off a website and they faxed the order to a restaurant in 2005, 15 years ago. And I learned so much from just that, knowing, no, you know what? Okay, it takes longer. Guess what? The customer wants to take longer. At that point, hospitality has changed. What I think is accelerated is the customer wanted less human contact 3 months ago. Now they want less human contact for a different reason, but that's what they like. That's what they like. That's not everybody, but there's a big portion of the population. When people say something is easier, and I hear that all the time, they say, I just heard somebody on our team say, gosh, I got contactless delivery, which means we leave the pizza outside the door for people to collect. And it was so easy. How's that easier than taking a pizza from a pizza delivery person's hands? What is easier is they don't have to deal with another human being, I suppose. So that's what I think is the trend that's here to stay, is that hospitality means something different. people like interacting with technology in lieu of people. And I wouldn't go so far as to say that, you know, people hate people, but people like to choose the people they're going to connect with, and a lot of people prefer anonymity in their connection with businesses, and that's what we're innovating against, and what we're going to continue to innovate against is that hospitality the way customers want hospitality today.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I've been saying this for forever, that, you know, the customer does not care about brands; they care about themselves, and brands want them to desperately care about them, but it just doesn't exist. So maybe the disruption has already occurred. Maybe things have already changed, and now brands that put the right layers in place, technology, delivery process, packaging, depth of the product to hold heat, to really meet expectations. And I think the last one is when costs and expectations align, now all of a sudden the customer is going to be in charge. I mean, look, there's a reason the self-serve frozen yogurt brands became a thing. It's because the customer does not want to be told how many scoops of ice cream they get. They want 500 scoops. They want 500 pounds of chocolate on there. Just let me pay for it. That's what I want. Don't tell me what I need. So, and Chipotle, I mean, these models have been around, and it's guiding us to this place that if a brand can be set up for these things, then I think they set up to win. Colleen, shifting your hat away from franchisor to franchisee, you make the decision that you're going to buy in. And obviously you get an inside look being in the franchisor seat to say, is this a good opportunity? And you say, yes, I see it. Now that you're on that side, what do you love most? Like, what excites you most about you've been supported on the franchisee side, or hearing leadership talk about, you know, putting scaffolding around you? What do you feel going through this?
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest part is knowing and being on the team that's looking to the future for the company, for the brand, knowing where we're going, knowing what our strategic plan is, and seeing how that lines up for the next 3 to 5 to 10, 20 years from now. I mean, that's what's really exciting. That's what gets me going, you know, every day. I mean, we're talking about what's happening right now. We're talking about the crisis and how people are managing day to day, but our plans are already, we're focused on Thanksgiving. We're focused on fall, we're focused on winter, and we're focused on 2021 planning. So I think that as the franchisee, it's really exciting to sort of have a view into what the future is going to, it's like having a magic 8-ball a little bit. It's to see what your future looks like. And it's pretty bright, not to be corny, but it's a really exciting time at Toppers, and the strategic direction we're going to be taking, whether it's through technology, creative, we're positioning ourselves to be a really an industry leading company and brand for the next probably 3 to 10 years, and that's exciting. Not to mention, you know, working with my husband on the operations side is, you know, getting to see the marketing side and the ops side all work together is it's great. It works well for us, and I think that it helps the Toppers corporate team too.
Colleen, for franchisees, I mean, your story is an important factor for them, seeing that you're in both sides, franchisor and franchisee side. And I mean, there must be a lot of comfort in that for other franchisees and really anyone considering a Toppers, no?
Yeah, I would say that it should. Anyone that's considering, you know, buying into this brand should definitely take it as a really positive sign that somebody that knows, as you guys said earlier, the good, the bad, and the ugly, says, yes, this is where I want to invest for my entire family's future. And this is the brand that makes sense for us. So for outsiders, absolutely. And for the current franchise system as well, I mean, does. It plays a big role in the relationship that I have with the franchisees in my role with Toppers, because as the director of advertising and media, it's easy to tell somebody else to spend their money. It's easy to tell someone else where you think they should be spending their money. But when the person that's telling you and advising you where to advertise, how much to spend, and where, they're doing it too, and they're standing behind it and seeing results, I think that, that definitely adds an additional layer of confidence in their support team, knowing that they're not just asking them to do it, they're doing it themselves.
Scott, when I hear Colleen say thinking about Thanksgiving, I mean, my brain goes towards, all right, someone's going to have to figure out first party delivery around Thanksgiving. Not suggesting that you pivot and add in Thanksgiving meals as Toppers Pizza, but when you're thinking about all the opportunity that exists here, one, are you pumped about the future? And it's a weird event to make you get really excited about the future. And then two, as the franchisor, how do you continue to put restraints on it? Because you might have some magic pieces from the way that the product is to the customer. How do you put restraints against an urge to try different things and just stay to your core when you know you're doing so well with it?
Yeah, that's a good question. When things started to happen, I was talking to somebody that week, and I was scared. I mean, that's the truth. I didn't know if they were going to say you're closed. But I was talking to somebody, and they said, "Oh my gosh, you sound so jazzed. You sound like you're in this whole other passionate place." And that had a lot to do with buckling down with the team, having this common enemy, just being excited each morning to get up and fight. But there was a certain element of, I thought, okay, this is going to be, no matter what happens here on the health side, we're going to come out of this in a recession, and I can do this. I know what this looks like. I know what fighting through disruption and finding the opportunities and growing out of this on the other side. I've done this a few times. I know what it looks like. We can do this. What was really interesting about the challenge of the last year or two is kind of this restaurant bubble that I talked about before, and this challenge of, there's 7 people in the state of Wisconsin that are unemployed, that are looking for a job, and we're trying to grow the business and look for people. That was an unusual, never happened to me before challenge. So sitting here today, we have a strategic plan that we're very confident in, and we're executing against. Now, we hit the pause button on a few things to be able to innovate against things that we've done here in the last 10 weeks. But what we're doing right now is we're having a conversation about, okay, new opportunity. What is legitimate opportunity that we're willing to get distracted on, put resources into our strategic plan that gets us that gets us to our vision that we've laid out for ourselves 3 years from now. And that's it's a fun conversation, and there will be some things that we do. Here's the challenge. I believe today more than ever that what we do already is perfectly suited for what the customer wants and needs. So I just sent an email. Colleen saw an email that I sent out here about an hour ago that talks about blocking and tackling. Because the truth is, right now, what do I think is the best possible use of resources to build the future? It's blocking and tackling. It's actually being great at what we already do. The things that we have in our plan that are innovative, that build additional opportunities, channels for growth, and the like, those are gravy. We're wailing on it right now. We're wailing on it like never before. What's happened in these last several weeks, and we believe there's a long-term opportunity just in what we're doing right now. So it's kind of the classic challenge, I suppose, is how much you hold tight and kick tail at what you're doing, and how much you try to distract the company and build new opportunities. But I believe we're well suited to strike that balance and grow the business.
So as we take the final spin around, Charles, I'll start with you. Just final thoughts or comments as we go through yet another conversation with a franchisor and a franchisee.
Yeah, I think Scott, I mean, I agree that there's a change in hospitality and customers do want convenience, but you know, the backstory to all of this too is that Toppers is built a relationship and reputation and is delivering what they want, right? So once you build that brand and once you have that product, I guess the next stage is the innovation and figuring out that convenience. So it's all interesting. It's going to be interesting what happens a year from now too with the innovation. But I mean, more than ever, I think brands need to focus on their brand. And like Scott said, their core product and staying in their lane. And if you do that, you could adapt to anything, whether it's COVID or, you know, voice search or, you know, 15 years ago, online ordering, right? It's all, you know, it's all the same. So, yeah, it's funny. Pizza's teaching us technology, you know, innovation.
Yeah.
And Colleen, final thoughts?
Yeah, I would just say that, you know, no matter what happens in the next week, couple of months, year, you know, pizza is a comfort food. Pizza is normalcy. Pizza is a great value. And for Toppers Pizza in particular, I think that it's really important for anyone that's out there to remember that, like, you know, we're all going to get through this, and it's important to sort of keep yourself grounded and just sort of remember what's important right now, and we'll all make it through.
Love it. And Scott, final thoughts?
Oh, I suppose that I'm thankful. I have a lot of gratitude for the team that I'm part of, and the good Toppers people that make what we do come alive for customers. I'm thankful that we've made our business in the stay-at-home economy for the last 25 years, and that the stay-at-home economy is booming right now, and that the people that I know and the people at Toppers are healthy and a good part of the communities that we serve.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And my final thoughts are two things. One is blocking and tackling. I think that's the most important thing for any business. That I think far too often we get pushed out of our comfort zone and try to be innovative. Yet when you do the fundamentals really well, that's what ultimately creates a sustained and sound business. And the second thing is, this is going to sound egotistical for me, but it's my story that when I can lean back on what it felt like to start a business in 2008, it helps me understand how to navigate this now that I know how to bootstrap. I know how to be innovative within the restraints that I have. And I think it's interesting to see like a founder like you, Scott, because you've been through many battles before. You already have the scars. And I think as leaders try to find what is the scaffolding around them, is if you can get into a reflective mindset and look in the past. We've never had to deal with something as crazy as this, but we've dealt with things in our business that have put pressure on us, that if you can reflect back on those moments and use that as guidance, the reality is you will have the tools to get through this and most likely come on the other side in a big way. Most businesses went into this thing with a mission of let's just get to the other side. And it's interesting to see that now that we're seeing that we can get to the other side, how do we start pushing down the pedal and taking advantage of our opportunities? And you know, I'm grateful to be able to be connected with the two of you because clearly this is going to be one of those brands that is going to have some really interesting stories as we come out of this. So I greatly appreciate all of you giving us some time. Obviously, stay safe, and we'll be rooting for Toppers. Thanks for the time.
Thanks. Go order some pizza.
Go order pizza.
Have a pizza tonight. Yeah.